Hey everybody, I thought this would warrant a video, so I wanted to show you this. You know that my van is the $70 van, right? So, you know, I don't have a lot to lose. The AC system is completely intact, along with it having rear AC as well. You know, didn't anything look wrong with it, except it wasn't working. And when a system isn't working, there's a pressure switch, I'll show you, and it senses whether there's pressure in the system or not. And if there isn't enough pressure in the system, the pressure switch is right here. This is the dryer, and this is the low side. The high side's right next to it. The low side is a small valve. The high side is a big valve. If there's not enough pressure in there, meaning there's not enough freon in it, it won't turn the compressor on. And that's the switch. It's low pressure switch, so you don't burn up your compressor, because within the freon is the oil charge. And that's what lubricates that compressor. Since this is a relatively modern system, this is a 134A system. You can see they're the first or the second year of the 134A. You know, I thought, well, why not? Let's give it a shot and see what happens. So here's what I did: is I went down to Walmart and I got this. All right, now this was $22, but it has a reusable gizmo that you can use it on the $5 cans. This gizmo is $20 a pop, so getting 18 ounces of freon and this gizmo for $23, that's a bargain, okay, in my book. So what I did is I did this. I started the van up, okay, and I turned on the AC, and of course the compressor wasn't running at the time. And I took the little magic button off the top there. You have to take the little thing, so when you push this down, it'll actually release that nozzle. This is how simple this is to hook up. So you just pull this back, put that on there, and you can read on the gauge where you're at. Okay, when I was reading my gauge, it was on the low mark. So I added, and it took about 5 minutes to add. And sometimes you can turn it upside down a little bit like this. You know, that helps add it. But don't just turn it upside down and shake it. That compressor right there, it pumps air. It doesn't pump liquid. So when I got done, of course, I could feel that my receiver dryer was cold, was getting cold, and that meant there's gas in there, and that the gauge was indeed on green. So I then took my deal go. Gone with the Wind. Okay, I'll find it. I went and I checked it. And voila, I have cold air coming out of here, and cold air coming out of the back. So what I'm saying is, if you have a system that's old and decrepit and doesn't work, more than likely it's lost its charge, and it's lost enough of its charge where the compressor won't kick on. And since it won't kick on, of course it won't push the freon through the orifice and into the evaporator, and then, you know, make the cycle essentially. So essentially that's what you're doing, is you're taking a material and you're forcing it through a little orifice hole and into an evaporator. An evaporator is has a fan behind it. There's an evaporator under that dash, and there's an evaporator back there. And when the fan is blowing past it, it exchanges the cool. What you're not, here's a lot of people think that they're putting cool into their car, and you are not doing that. What you are doing is you're doing exactly the opposite. You're taking the heat and humidity out of your car. See, there is only cool. There is no heat. Understand that in the universe. There is only cold unless acted on by heat. So if you take the heat and the humidity away, you are left with cold. Does that make sense? Okay, that's how that works. So you're taking the heat out of the car and you're putting it on the front of the car via a condenser and the fan or the air blowing through it, and the whole cycle starts over. When it comes out of the evaporator, it's a gas or liquid, one of the two. I think it's a gas when it comes out of the evaporator, and then the compressor pumps it. It's a air compressor is what it is. They used to be piston compressors. Now they're like radial compressors, which is like a supercharger, kind of, I think. But anyways, it's got some directions on the back here, and they're very straightforward and very wonderful, thought out. You know, if it's low, you need it. Okay, that's one thing that's wrong with your car. If the gauge shows it's low, then that's one possibility what's wrong with your car, where the air conditioning doesn't work. So you need to bring it up to the green. So when you bring it up to the green, it should cycle. Okay, and if it doesn't, well, you know, you got to go see a professional. Okay, but here's the deal, man, is I spent less than $40 for 3 cans of Freon, and 3 cans of Freon in this, and I put 3 cans in this and 2 other cans, and it's ice cold now, front and back. How long will it last? I don't know, but the compressor isn't making any noise. It's working the way it should, and it's getting cold. And I put the gauge back on there, and it's right in the green. Everything's good. So, you know, if it lasts through the summer, great, you know. So eventually, you know, O-rings and hoses, hoses especially, they get permeable, and they start leaking, and O-rings as well, they get dried up and stuff. Special just for you, a train. See, I told you, train in every video. Anyways, that excited me enough to try it in this car. And this car I've been having trouble with the AC also, and you know, kind of kicking on and off. Didn't know if it was because we had a problem with the other Altima, and you know, cars, they fail and they succeed famously. So when one part's bad in one car, they're all bad because they came off the same cookie cutter, you know. So what I did is I hooked that all up. It was in the green, but low in the green, and so I put 12 ounces of Freon in it, a can, and now it's in the green, kind of medium green, medium high, and ice cold air. So there you go. I'm excited. And this car cost about $6 to fix, and this vehicle here was about $32. So it was less than $40 for all of that. So I have AC in both my cars. Don't know for how long, but I didn't have to take them to a mechanic. So that's what I'm saying. So don't be afraid of that, but be very careful. Be very careful. I have junk. If you have a really nice new car, there's a reason why your AC went bad, and it shouldn't have went bad. Do you know what I mean? Like if you have a car with 40 or 50,000 miles on it, you've got a hole in your condenser from a rock, or you've got ripped hose, or you've got a blown up compressor or something like that. Air conditioning in a car should last a long, long, long time, and it should last 80, 90, at least 100,000 miles. And in cars like electric cars, like what's that electric car they have out? It's very popular. They can run that just off electricity, you know, like a refrigerator. So there's no line shaking around and there's no hose connections. They can hard connect everything. So that's the deal with the air conditioning system on a internal combustion engine, is you have to attach flex lines to it, and they move around. And when they move around, things get, you know, get age doing that. But something like a Tesla, you know, you could have an air conditioning system like a refrigerator and have it all rubber mounted and stuff, and it could last 40, 50 years like a refrigerator does, or whatever, 40 years, you know. So anyways, there you go. I'm really excited about that. It worked out quite nice, and fixed both of these cars for not a lot of money. All right, thought I'd share that with you.